If you've played any miniatures game or board game, you're going to be acutely aware of just how annoying this is. But fortunately, this problem has been solved for a long time now with the invention of the dice tray. And they come in plenty of varieties to suit all budgets, varying levels of customization. Just the examples here range from about £4 to about £40. But what if I were to tell you that there's a very easy, very cheap way that you can make your own beautiful dice tray from things that, as a hobbyist, you probably just have lying around, and the addition of one very cheap item? I mean, that seems like a pretty cool project, right? And better yet, they also make ideal gifts for your nerdy friends. But the real cherry on top for me is, as well as being awesome and cheap, this project only takes about 30 minutes to complete. And that's great if you're tight on time. So before I show you how to make this, don't forget to give this video a quick thumbs up, and please do consider subscribing to the channel for more tutorials like this, as well as lots of other hobby related content. Right then, let's get crafty. This is a box picture frame. It's like a picture frame, but they're designed to house things that aren't flat, and as such they have some depth to them. Mine is about a 15cm square, but they come in both smaller and larger too. The back panel has fasteners on it to hold it on, and it also has usually a layer of glass or perspex, and then quite often there'll be a little sort of presentation surface too to go on the visible side of the back. For our purposes, we don't need the glass. However, don't throw it away, because at the end of this tutorial, I'll show you an extra make using that's really awesome. You can also set aside the presentation surface if your frame has one. We won't need that either. But again, it might be usable for something else, so don't throw it away. Now, these frames can come in as cheap as £2 or £3 brand new from places like Hobbycraft. And in fact, I've linked a new one in the description from Hobbycraft that, at the time of recording this, was £3. But it is also worth bearing in mind that these things show up all the time in charity shops and at car boot sales for literally pennies. I mean, if you were savvy about acquiring materials, you could make a whole batch of these for your gaming group and spend less than 20 quid. Now, you're going to want a glue gun for this job, and chances are if you've ever made terrain for your war games, you probably already own one. But if not, I'd be willing to bet you can borrow one, and it might be worth just spending a tenner to grab one from Amazon. So grab your glue gun, get it preheated, but before we glue anything, we're first going to be focusing on the backing piece. We want to paint it black or to match our frame. I'm going to leave my frame black, so I am going to paint it black. Now, I'm going to employ my airbrush here because it's already at my workstation, so why not? However, a rattle can will do this job fine, a brush will do this job fine. Whatever you've got is absolutely fine. I'll get this sprayed black, and with a bit of TV magic, the 5 minutes it takes will seem like seconds. Next up, I'm going to print off a copy of my logo to make a stencil for the tray, so I just need to resize it a little and hit print. That's very straightforward. I printed mine on some adhesive-backed label paper to make my life a little easier, but equally, mounting spray or double-sided tape would work to temporarily hold the paper down whilst you're painting the stencil. Of course, you could also just freehand or not even do a logo at all. There's plenty of options for how you decorate this. So now I just need to center up the stencil on the blackboard and get to painting. Be careful here not to stick this down crazy strong though, you don't want it to be too hard to get back off. For the painting part of this, my logo is normally presented with a pink and teal gradient, so I'm just going to quickly wet blend it with some Vallejo paint at just straight out of the bottle consistency. This doesn't really take very long and it should look really lovely when it's done. However, when it is done, it does look a little bit rough. But again, this has been about another 5 minutes of work. We can afford a quick minute just to tidy up around the edges with some black paint. So the next thing I'll do is that. I'm just gonna bring it back to looking a little crisper and neater without pumping too much time in. I don't really need to go crazy with this black painting, and it's not particularly difficult either. I did also give it a quick coat of spray varnish, again because as a mini painter I just have it to hand. And that's just going to protect that logo and any decoration that you put on that back panel and stop it from chipping when dice are hitting it. So this is how it looks now that I'm finished with it. And at last it's time to assemble, and this is probably predictable in how easy it is. Just place the board back in the frame and tack it in with some hot glue. The decorative piece being removed means that it won't run flush to the bottom anymore. So if you wished, you could also remove those retaining clips and replace them with some rubber feet. But that adds cost, and I'm being a cheap ass for this one. Also, yes, I did put my finished board down on some wet paint, and I'm not proud of it. And that's it. Maybe 20, 25 minutes work? A beautiful looking dice tray that you can customize to your heart's content. Nice. And honestly, this isn't even the limit. You could put a lid on this thing, for example, using leather or fabric, and then it becomes an actual solution for carrying your dice around. You could get a plain wooden frame and use a hot soldering iron to burn patterns into it, so you get one of those cool pyrography looking things. The possibilities are literally endless, and it's such a quick and easy thing to make, you may as well have a go. But speaking of endless possibilities, I did not forget about that piece of glass or perspex, in my case perspex. By simply spraying the back of the glass or perspex in white, and then giving it a quick layer of varnish, you just made yourself one of the nicest dry palettes you'll ever use. Super easy to clean, super easy to see what you're doing, and it was free, since it was made from literal discarded leftovers of this project. And so there we have it, folks, one of the easiest, quickest and cheapest hobby projects that I've ever stumbled across. And this is not only going to give you something beautiful that looks and functions perfectly, but it's going to give you a great gift to give to your wargaming friends. And that's something that maybe we should do a little more of. So I hope you enjoyed this one, folks. Please do leave a comment if you did. Let me know if you plan to make this one, because I had a lot of fun doing it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.